Summary Chapter 1, 2, and 3. Maximus have a daydream, where he appeared on the Spanish fields with his family on a farmhouse at his back with the bird noises. Maximus come back to reality, on the middle of a battlefield, burned and dressing the proud armor of the Roman army. Maximus passed through the army and wait for the German army. Maximus takes some earth from the floor and go to the battle with his horses. Before the battle, Maximus say some words to inspire the Roman army. Marco Aurelio saw all the battle with his soldiers at the back. Commodus and Lucile talk about the decision of his father and do games in honor to Marco Aurelio, his father. The Roman army win the war and start the peace, the Rome peace. They start going to Rome at the night. Commodus have a little conversation with Maximus and the senators. Marco Aurelio talked with Lucile about Commodus. Then Commodus trained his ability with the swords, with a couple of soldiers. Marco Aurelio talked with Maximus about his empire and his life, and Marco Aurelio said to Maximus if he could be the new Caesar and save Rome of the corruption. Maximus, after that conversation, talked with Lucile about her kid Lucio and the son of Maximus. Commodus and Marco Aurelio talk about the decision that Marco Aurelio take, and Commodus start to say that his dream was that his father were proud of him. With a big strength, Commodus killed Marco Aurelio with a big heart. Commodus say to Quinto to kill Maximus, but Maximus escaped with a big cut on his arm.
Chapter 4. A prisoner again. Maximus kills the guards that were going to kill him, and then he escapes from there riding one of the guards' horses. He tried to ride to his home first than the royal guards so he could warn his family. But he couldn't, so when he finally arrived, everything was burned and his family was dead. He laid next to their bodies after burying them, and he fell asleep. When he woke up, he was surrounded by slaves. He was being sold as a slave, although he didn't even care now because he was destroyed. A man called Proximo saw a mark on Maximus' shoulder, and he understood immediately that he used to be at the army of Rome. Proximo bought Maximus, Juba, who was another slave, 2 other slaves, and some animals. They were brought to Proximo's school, where they would learn how to fight as gladiators. They were kept in cages. Maximus was staring at Haken, the trainer. Then Proximo called the slaves and gave them a speech. Chapter 6. The Caesar's arrival in Rome. The Caesar Commodus was coming to Rome. He told all the senators that he was the new commander of the Roman army. The people knew that he was coming to the city, and they received him very well, cleaning the city and cheering, although they weren't very enthusiastic because they were worried about the bad things that they had heard about Commodus. All the senators went with Commodus, and Gracchus and Gaius hated him, not like Falco, who supported Commodus. Commodus noticed that the people's cheerings were just for polite, and he told this to Falco. After that, he had a meeting with the Senate, and they told him all the problems that he had to solve, but he wasn't interested in them. He just wanted to be loved by the people. Then he got angry and left. Commodus used to think that the Senate were useless, and that the real commander of Rome was whoever the army was loyal to. Commodus had the idea of making games where slaves had to fight and were killed by soldiers very unfairly, just for the entertainment of the people. All the senators were against this idea, but he did it anyways. Next to the senators was a small man, listened to everything, and he got paid for telling what he heard.
Chapter 7. Maximus is going to have a battle in the arena. Before he entered to fight, Proximo told to him that they don't have just to kill, they have to be a hero, they have to entertain the people. When the battle was over, Proximus called to Maximus to talk about the opportunity to go to the Colosseum in Rome. He told to him that he was a gladiator and that the Emperor Marcus Aurelius gave him the freedom and a sword that said that he was a free man. So if he want to meet the Emperor and be a free man, they have to win over the crowd. Lucella put a medicine in the drink of Commodus that made him sleep, so she can go to Gracchus' house to talk about the terrible idea of Commodus. Maximus and the slave arrived to Rome, and they went to the Colosseum. In the Colosseum, Lucius talked to Maximus and asked him if he was the Spaniard that all people talk. Chapter 8. The gladiators entered to the arena. The Emperor and the Senate was in the Colosseum looking to the fight. The chariot entered and the fight started. Maximus told to the gladiators that if they want to live, they will have to fight all together. The battle was ended, and Commodus wanted to meet Maximus, because he took all the look from the crowd. Commodus went to the stand to meet Maximus. Maximus was ready to kill him, but Lucius came and put together to Commodus. So Maximus cannot kill him in front of Lucius. Commodus told to the Spaniard that say his name, and Maximus take out his helm and say that he was Maximus. Commodus gave the order to kill him. But the crowd started to shout, "Let him live!" Lucella and the Senate could not believe what was happening. Commodus was very angry because Maximus is still alive. Lucella wanted to see Maximus to offer him help to kill Commodus. Chapter 9. Maximus had to fight in the arena versus Tigers of France. Commodus was convinced that he could not get out alive of this battle. Maximus won the battle, but he decided not to kill his opponent. Commodus was angry. He didn't know what to do with Maximus. He can't kill him because the crowd loved him. Maximus and the gladiators were coming back to Proximus' school. In the trajectory, they saw Cicero. Cicero gave to him a little package when Maximus was alone. He looked what Cicero gave to him. It was two golden figures of his wife and son.
Chapter 10. Commodus was angry and nervous because his people loved more Maximus than they loved him. He was talking to Falco, and Falco told him, "You just have to kill him." But he disagreed and told him to keep an eye on every person that could be helping Maximus. Cicero needed to talk to Lucilla, and he got really close to her in a carriage and told her that Maximus wanted to see her politician. She went with Gracchus to Proximus' school, and they had a talk with Maximus about what they're going to do. Maximus decided that he needed his freedom, and when he had his freedom, he would go get his army, and they will kill Commodus, and they would give Rome back to the people. So Gracchus sent the money with a servant to Proximo in a cafe, but Proximo saw the one of Falco's secret police, so he didn't receive the money. That night, Proximus and Maximus had a talk in his room, and Proximo didn't like the idea of the plan they had. He told them it wouldn't work. Lucilla came in the middle of the night to tell Maximus he had to leave right now because the emperor knew too much. When she got home, Lucius was with Commodus, and they were talking about stories, but he was threatening Lucilla without Lucius noticing. Chapter 11. The royal guards were outside of Proximus' school. He didn't even look at them. He gave the keys for the cells to Maximus and went back to his room. The royal guards broke the locks and started to fight with the gladiators. Hagen was wounded and killed within minutes. Then they snuck up to Proximus' room and killed him, but Maximus could escape. When he got to where Cicero was hanged and killed with arrows too. And they captured Maximus. The next morning, they went to the Colosseum with Maximus. Also, that night, eight senators and their wives were killed. In the Colosseum, Maximus and Commodus were going to fight. But Commodus knew he couldn't win, so he wounded Maximus beforehand, and they started the fight. In the middle of the fight, Commodus lost his sword, and none of the guards gave another one to him. So Commodus didn't win. Maximus won. Commodus died. But when Maximus was giving his speech, he died after giving his speech. And Lucilla took over and told everyone he was going to die like a hero. No, he died. He died like a hero. And he was going to be the hero of Rome, and Rome was going to be a free nation, a republic again. Maximus was home. The Colosseum was empty and silent. Juba was a free man standing there in the arena. He could still hear Maximus' voice talking about his home and asking him about his home. He was home. Maximus was home. Juba knew he was going to be home soon. He walked into the center of the arena until he found a little puddle of dry blood and got on his knees. He digged a little hole and got something from his pocket. It was the two wooden figures of his wife and his son that were from Maximus, and he put them in the little hole he digged and covered them with the earth that contained his loved one's blood, because it would be easier for them to find their home. Now they were all free. He shouted, "You are now free," and told Maximus they will meet again, but not yet.